born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
You're an athlete. Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.
We have way too much
Way too much going on back here.
to figure out in the gym closet. Come on.
Oh, is it going now?
I do not know. Sorry for everybody on Facebook. We'll give it a second here to
The suspense.
figure it
Gotta
out.
wait for all of our goods for about a couple more minutes.
Oh, now we got a random pop-up.
This is real life though, right? Like
Yeah.
this shit happens all the time.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
just if we had producers, they wouldn't see any of this.
Well, we'd be just.
They'd think
we'd
that
be
we're
out
just
here talking
perfect.
And they'd be sweating
There it
bullets
goes,
back
it's
there.
going.
Now it's going.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Now the producer can shut off that, and let's get to the show. Welcome, athletes, into the gym closet. We have another awesome episode coming up today to kind of feed off of last week's word of the week, where we had kind of a of sorts of how to describe an athlete and what that means in the word greatness. So
Zach missed out
yep.
I did.
because you were in Texas.
I did.
Yeah, so how was your trip?
It was good. It was really good. Yeah, nice and warm. It snowed here last week, right? A little bit.
Yes.
So I thought, yeah.
It's just,
no
it's
snow
been
down
crappy
there, so.
weather. Just
Yeah.
but the nice thing is it melted right away because it was still pretty warm. But
Yeah, there was. I think the coldest it got down there was like in the 50s.
and you said
So.
everyone in Texas was like acting like.
Oh my
it was,
gosh,
like,
everyone down there.
negative.
My whole family lives down there. They're like in their like parkas and like winter boots and stuff when it's like 50 degrees.
And you
I
were
was like,
in
had my
shorts
t-shirt
and-
and shorts on. I was like, this feels fantastic.
Nice.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
That's awesome. Seems like a lot of people have been headed on vacation here
Yeah,
for the
there's-
spring.
I don't know. Well, all of our coaches decided they wanted to ditch out, which is
Yep.
fine. They deserve it.
Yep.
But
Next
I was
time
like,
we'll have
yeah,
to-
spring break. That used to be like a big thing when we were younger. But
Yeah, I didn't know.
I feel like now, but like you guys took like a more relaxing vacation.
Yeah.
I feel like more people are doing more relaxing vacations now than.
Yeah.
But do you see that stuff in Miami and like
I was gonna say, I
Daytona
don't know. I don't
Beach?
think everybody is.
Word.
I don't know, yeah.
They're out
Just-
partying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, I don't know. And honestly, I didn't even know it was spring break last week.
Yeah.
Until
Yeah.
until it was last week and everyone was like spring break.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, same time.
Yeah, we just happened to. This is when my mom decided to take us on vacation, so that's when we went. So
You're not gonna
Nice.
say no to that.
no, yeah.
For sure.
You guys
So
go there once a year?
Usually,
try
yeah.
to, yeah.
Usually we go like New Year's time.
That's right.
But this year, so
Oh,
we usually
nice.
go down there. So yeah,
I
good to
would.
reschedule.
I was gonna say I would definitely go down there, but I would wait. I'd go down there when like end of like in the fall when it's starting to get cold.
Yeah.
here, and
Yeah,
then it's nice down
typically
there.
we go into winter and it's like -20 here, then like 20 to 30 down there. So it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
reasonable. One year we went, I remember in August. It was like 110 the entire week we were down
Ooh,
there.
that's
It was
hot.
just miserable the whole time. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. That's more.
That's
Don't
just
do
a
that
different
anymore.
kind of heat.
Yeah, it is.
So we have a bunch of stuff going on in the gym. If this is your first time joining, that is Krave Gym and how and why to live like an athlete. So we do a lot of different things, announcements and different things about our gym in particular, and then we do. We'll talk a little bit more about that here because we're going to go over some of the different programming and seasons and dive kind of as a starting point to someone that maybe knew what our program is all about. But tips and goals and our word of the week has kind of turned into a big segment of ours that we end up talking a lot about, and that's kind of our way of living like an athlete and words to kind of words to guide you and give you something to think about in that week, and we hopefully give some action steps and some different things that we do that. So we'll start off with that today. So our word of the week this week is stemming from kind of the first step, the first tip of greatness is goals and goal setting. So the definition is the end in which effort is directed. So the goal is a something that you are trying to achieve that it takes action to get there. And so with that, we want to make sure that we're doing some things to make it successful in goals, because there's a lot of different ways. There's scientific ways to actually be more successful in goals and goal setting, and to kind of go against Amber, where she has no reason or anything
No
to write
goals at
stuff
all.
down.
I'm just self-motivated, guys.
Yeah. So that's the to go against her philosophy of not writing down goals. We're going to suggest that you write down
Hey, I'm not
goals.
saying I think it's a good thing. I don't think it is. I think I should set goals for myself. I just sometimes don't need to. But I think it'd make me better if I did. So.
I think you don't need to, maybe because you have discipline in doing
Yes.
things the right way.
Right. But I could have more discipline if I had goals to achieve.
There we go. So, so there's kind of two different things when we talk about goals. There's two different things. There's the outcome, the goal itself that you can set, but then there's also the process. And what I think a lot of people don't work on as much is the process. And that's kind of the main thing that I want to talk about today is the outcome is easy. If I write my goal on a piece of paper, and it can be, I want a bigger house. I want a 5-bedroom house. That's a goal that, takes work and takes different things to achieve that goal. If it's a gym goal, I want to lose 20 pounds. Being a specific goal, that's kind of the first step. What do you want to do? And that's awesome. That's what we need to write down. And the thing we need to figure out, though, then is the proper way to set up a goal. And the second part of that goal setting is the process. And I think that that's something that we need to work a lot on. And that's kind of going to be some of the action steps that I want to take this week. And we all had, resolutions, and everybody kind of has this at the new year. We're in March now, end of March. So when you hit the new year, you always have these resolutions. But how many people, when they make a New Year's resolution, take time to list all of the process that will achieve that goal for you? You know what I mean? So if that goal is losing 20 pounds, what do you need to do to lose 20 pounds? I need to be consistent for months on end at going to the gym, eating less or burning more calories than I eat. And that might mean doing extra cardio. That might mean, hitting the gym 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, whatever goal that is. But if what most people do is they set a goal and they say, okay, this is the outcome I want. I want 20 pounds lost. Okay, well, great. And then I'm just going to subconsciously try to get to that goal. I need to get instead of, I write that goal down because I'm super serious about this goal. I write down lose 20 pounds. Even more specifically, lose 20 pounds in 20 weeks, because that's going to be the healthy way to do it and sustain that weight loss. So then in 20 weeks, I want to do that. Okay. So then they found the process of, okay, in order to do that, I need to write down, go to the gym 4 days per week. I need to calculate what calories I bring into my body and what calories I burn. I need to calculate those things so that I know on a given day, and then I need to hit those goals, those mini goals in the process. And so the reason I think a lot of people do their New Year's resolution and end up not accomplishing that goal or getting halfway there is because they don't worry about the process at all. It's just a resolution. It's like, I'm going to lose 20 pounds and it's going to be on the top of my mind for a little bit. And so maybe it's the first month I do a couple things that I really need to do to achieve that goal.
Well,
but
next
then
month I don't go to the gym for a week, so now I'm done.
Right. And it's not top of mind anymore,
Right.
because now I'm starting to think about, so it's been a month since I set that goal, and maybe I wrote down that goal, but the process isn't in my mind anymore. Mm-hmm. So now if you can go back and you can read about the process, and you can, or you have it up on your mirror, in your bathroom or whatever the case might be, you have it on your computer desktop, and those things will allow you to continue to keep that, not only the goals top of mind, but the process and the things that you have to do, because the checklist that you have to do each day is relatively short for most goals, right? Having a bigger house, that can be a daunting task, or buying your first home, that can be a daunting task, but there's things that you have to do to get to that goal. And in doing that, there was a checklist of, I'm sure, how many things that you had to accomplish to do that. And you started taking steps to get to that point. And now have you closed on the house yet?
May.
May, okay, awesome.
Beginning May, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, that's one of the check boxes that you need to check to have it,
Disclaimer
right?
though, they signed the paperwork, and the
Nice,
interest rate went up
congratulations.
like 0.6%.
Interest rate went up, yeah. Bunch.
Already?
When they told us, yeah.
Yes.
But it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Did you get a good one though? Still?
It's still
low, right?
They're still low. Not as low, but still really low.
Right.
So.
Well, that's good.
And
That's
just
good.
something I want to throw in here before I forget, but like there's this couple over at Waukee. So she said if she shows up to the gym 3 times a week, by the end of that month, she's going to go buy herself a new pair of Lululemon pants because she
Awesome,
achieved
yeah.
her goal. So then she knows just that month, if I achieve this, I'm going to buy myself a pair of pants.
Right.
So then it's short term,
goal,
but yet
the
it's
outcome,
still. So then
yeah.
next month, I might be like, okay, if we each go, 3 times a week, we're going to go out to a dinner.
And that I love that because that's the process.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
She probably has an overall fitness goal.
She does, yes.
And she can write that goal down in big bold letters. But if she didn't concentrate on the process to get to that goal, then it would be much harder to just kind of blindly find your way to the bigger picture.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so that's why the process is so
Or
daunting.
if they
and
would have
so-
missed the Monday workout or a session, then they would have been like, well, that's all right. But now it's like, well,
Right.
I got to
Now
go
it's
Monday
like-
night because
Or I have to go Tuesday.
Yeah.
I have to.
Because that's on
I
the
have to
top
hit
of
that
mind.
because if I don't hit these 3,
Yeah.
then I don't get this little carrot at the end of
Yes.
the day.
Yeah.
And that carrot isn't my overall achievement of my goal, but it's a
Part of the
process to get to that goal.
Mhm.
And the other thing that we have to think about inside of that process, and right when you're thinking about your goals, sit down for 20 minutes and think about a goal that you have. Whether that's business, whether that's personal, whether that's family related, whether that's whatever the case might be, go in and identify the process, write down the process, write down mini goals, write down like the step-by-step things that you need to accomplish, but then also write down, I think the other thing that a lot of people don't try to do is they don't try to find the blockers or the difficulty steps in what they're doing, right? So a blocker for like buying a bigger house would be, I don't make enough money. Okay, well, if that's the case and you can set a goal and a process to get a raise at work, or you can set a goal and a process, really switch jobs or switch careers or pick up a side gig or whatever the case might be. If you would identify that blocker, you're going to be able to get to a better point. If you don't identify that blocker, you could be two months down the line and be like, well, I'm only putting $50 in savings every month. I'm not in a position to buy a bigger house.
Right.
And so if you identified that, okay, I'm only here in the next couple months, if I sit where I am today, career-wise or money-wise, I'm not going to get to where I need to be.
And same with that, you need to look at your budget then and
Right.
look and say, okay, what am I spending unnecessary money on? Well, maybe I can put that towards that, but that's going to be a part of the process,
Exactly.
because we all spend money on stupid stuff.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And so it's like, well, if I can not spend money on that and then put it towards that, then that's going to be a part of your process. And when that comes up in your life, you're not going to be like, well, screw it, I don't
Right.
have enough money. It's just we got to put it to different
Right.
places.
Right. Or how many people have a shitload of old clothes and old stuff that they could sell in today's world? Selling, I mean, you're awesome at it. Selling stuff is
Getting
super
better.
easy at, but I mean, you know the process of selling stuff. You throw something on Facebook and it's probably gone. You know what I mean?
Because I'm at the point where it's like, we know what the kids need, but if I want something that's unnecessary for the kids, I'm like, all right, I'm going to sell something else because this isn't a need. It's just something
Right.
I want. So if I can get that money for the old stuff, then I'm going to get that.
Right.
But it's, yeah.
And so that's a way to get more money in this goal situation. And so that's the other thing that we need to concentrate on. So what I challenge everybody to do, the action steps to do this week, is let's concentrate. Give yourself 20 minutes. Sit down, write out a goal that you have, and you want to make that a big goal. But then you want to list 10, 15, 20 mini goals that are going to help you stair step to that bigger goal. and think about the process. Think about the things that are going to block you from doing that. If you have a buddy that in the same house situation, if you have a buddy that kind of makes you feel like you got to go out and go to the bar with him 3 nights a week, and you're spending $100 a night, that's $300 a week on going out with this guy or this girl or this group of friends. If that's the case, then changing that arrangement for you can put more money in the bank. You know what I mean? And so shifting those goals, you have to make some decisions, and some decisions might be hard ones, like that would be, but your priority, you set your priorities by writing down the process and writing down the goals.
And I think another action step in that is like what we just talked about with, I think we talked about this last week on the podcast, like we look at our goals so far ahead that if we don't achieve that big one, we feel like we're not successful. Mm-hmm. So we have to celebrate the small successes along the way. So if you're 3 months down the road and you're like, I'm still striving to achieve this goal, like you deserve something for that, or you give yourself praise. I mean, even if it's just like affirmation for yourself, or go buy yourself a coffee, do something, set those little ones so you have some adversity over here that you're going to have to.
Like your athlete at Waukee.
Yeah.
She might not have hit her lofty goal of whatever that lofty goal is, 20, 30, 50 pounds for some people, but she might have 3 new pair of Lulus because she hit her goal when she needed to hit her goal, and she rewarded herself. So she sees the positive reinforcement of those carrots that are going to get you to where you need to be.
And it's all based on personalities. Some people that would motivate me more just because I love leggings. But like a little prize in a month would motivate me to keep going.
Right. Right, yeah. One quote I want to throw at everyone before I go here. My baseball coach told it to me, and it's really stuck with me for a long time. And it's, a goal without a plan is just a wish. And that's like one of my favorite quotes I've ever heard. Yeah, because it's so true. Like what you guys are talking about, anyone and everybody can sit around at home and say, I want to lose 10 pounds. But unless you actually come up with a plan and come up with a process of how to go about doing that, all it is a wish. All you're doing is sitting there thinking, I wish I was 10 pounds lighter. I wish I could lose 10 pounds. Yeah. But how are you going to do it? That's the important part. Setting the goal, that's the easy part. That's what anybody can sit there and do. The hard part is figuring out how to do it and then actually going out and doing it and making it happen. So
the other thing that I found when I was looking at the science of goal setting is, along that note, merely just fantasizing about your goal and not writing down the process, not making these mini goals, not actually writing down the outcome and the process and the blockers and all those things. If you don't do that and you just wish for it, that can actually demotivate you, because that can trick your brain into thinking that you've accomplished something along the way. So like if I just keep wishing for this goal, without writing it down, without thinking, then you always give yourself more benefit of the doubt most of the time. So you're like, well, I've been doing X, Y, and Z to get to that goal. I wonder why I'm not able to get to that goal yet. So then you almost talk yourself into into the fact that you think you're headed in the right direction, even though you may not be, because you're not able to check those things off the list. So it actually can demotivate you and hurt you to make a goal that you don't write down, figure out the active process and the plan.
Well, and you think about it that way too. You come up with that goal, a thought in your head, and then you don't get there because you don't have a process. You don't follow a process to get there. Eventually, you're going to get to a point where you're like, well, I failed with that goal.
Right.
Well, why? Yeah. Because you didn't do anything to go accomplish it. You didn't set a plan. You didn't carry out a plan to actually accomplish it. So.
And then it makes you not want to set any more goals in your future because
then you're afraid of failure.
Yeah.
And it becomes kind of a vicious cycle. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah, I love it.
Like it.
So this we gotta get Zach's gotta get out of here.
Yeah, bye everyone.
Bye, Zach.
For joining us.
So then I like this word because then it can kind of lead into our goals that we have each season. So I just thought, a good topic for this week would be to just go over how we periodize our training sessions, what makes us different from other gyms out there, your CrossFits, your Orange Theories, gyms like that. And so I think it's just good to always educate our athletes on why we do what we do, and kind of start from our backgrounds of just being athletes and working in strength and conditioning and carrying that to the general. This is going to go back to basics. For some of you, you might be like, okay, this is boring. I already know this stuff. But maybe you need a refresher on why we do what we do. So this is good because, you know, goal setting, that's why we have our seasons. So every 8 weeks, we want you guys to focus on specific goals for those 8 weeks. And I love that because not everybody loves strength, which we need to talk about, or
the Krave.
Yeah. You know, so we did a poll. So not everybody loves strength, but you know that for 8 weeks, you can focus on that strength and maybe learn to love it. Or some people do love strength. So they want to set those goals on what they're strong in and they love. And then we have like an agility season where you might not love agility, but you know it's something you need to get better at. And it's just so fun watching people improve on those. And then when it comes to the end, they're like, gosh, I couldn't do this on the box. Now I'm jumping even higher.
I think it's human nature that we want to do the things that we're good at and not do at all, ditch the things that we are bad at. Mm-hmm. And I think that you should emphasize the things you're good at, just in general in life. But if you're not striving to be good at the things that you're not good at, then you're hurting yourself as far as a well-rounded athlete. As far as a coach and growing up in athletics, the coach always wanted you to be a well-rounded athlete. Mm-hmm. So like if you weren't the fastest guy, you're probably not going to be in a speed position, but the faster you get, the better you're going to be at that position, or whatever you're in.
Or the more it helps your team out.
Exactly. You know? And so that's the thing that we as coaches are going to force our athletes. That's right. Force our athletes to do things that maybe they don't love to do. Mm-hmm. But we have a balanced training to make sure that they get the things done they need to get done. And that's one thing, that's what living like an athlete is, the consistency, the discipline to do what you need to do. And that's what we're here to help in that programming. So our program is based off of the seasons of your training. So the seasons of your training when you played sports was you were doing something different, volume wise, you were emphasizing something different preseason versus during season, your training looked a little different versus the 8 weeks after season, your training looked a little different versus your off season, the bulk of your training where you're trying to do some different things to really become the best athlete that you can. All of those seasons had different goals, and we wanted to make sure that we were emphasizing those goals when you're training, when you were playing a sport. Now, fast forward, we might be done playing that sport, but that training still applies because we're still needing to work on different goals all the time and concentrate and emphasize different things that maybe we're not very good at. Make your weaknesses your strength, and that way you can continue to grow as a well-rounded athlete and physically. And then I'll also, outside of the gym, we talk about that as well, but we're going to kind of concentrate on the programming aspect of what we do. And so we have 4 different elements. So we have our endurance, agility. Inside of those 4 different elements, we have 6 seasons. So we have 2 strength seasons, 2 endurance seasons, a striking and agility season. Those are basically 8 weeks where we're concentrating on different things with that emphasis. So every training that you do, every day that you're in a training session, you're going to get a balanced training session of those 4 things with an emphasis on whatever that season is. So right now we're in strength and numbers, for example. We have an emphasis in strength, specifically power, because we have 2 strength seasons and they differ a little bit. So we're working on power, the speed of movement, and so we are going as heavy as we can. We're pushing the weight as fast as we can this season, and we're working on that power in our strength. But we're still getting a round of agility. We're still getting a round of endurance. We're still getting a round of striking, and we're getting an emphasized round, an extra round of strength this season. Now, next season, fast forward, we're going to be jumping into Condition to Conquer, which has been literally January of 2019.
That's crazy.
So yeah, 2 years ago, it will almost be 2.5 years ago when we get into the season. But in that season, we're working on our HIT style conditioning and our hit style of endurance. So we have an extra round of endurance, but we still have round of strength. We still have a round of agility, and we still have a round of striking, because those are all core elements of what we do. And so if you think of our four elements as four pillars, you have those four pillars, and then you have a nice little trophy pillar on top that is the emphasis of the season, which is kind of cool graphic now that I think about it.
There you go. See,
Right.
Your mind's always thinking.
We need
Your
to
mind's
post
always
that something.
But what I love, so the biggest thing is, gyms around the area, what really differentiates us is that they'll just throw workouts of the day together, or, that trainer that day will just put a workout together based off of what he thinks that group needs. And so what I love about our program is that we sit down and we periodize all of our seasons out. So it prevents people from overtraining. Because say you go to a gym and that day they're doing shoulder presses, and you go back the next day, well, that trainer didn't look at the workout before that day, so now you're doing shoulder presses again, and the rep ranges are the same. Eventually you're going to start overtraining, right? So eventually overtraining leads to injury, and with us being able to periodize our workouts and have control over those workouts of what we're doing each week, it helps from that overtraining.
Right.
Not only that, but if you continuously go to the gym and you're doing heavy cardio, your body is eventually going to get used to that cardio. In order to burn more calories, get results, you're going to have to add on more cardio. Or you're going to have to strength train and balance it all out. But if they're not providing you with that program to strength train, you're just going to show up thinking that they have the best program available for you. And so your body can eventually hit a plateau, and that's where you don't see any results, because your body is just used to doing something over and over and over.
The other thing that kind of plays off of that as well, not only can you overwork something, but you can underwork something. So the imbalances that are created in a program are tough, because you can get to the point where I haven't done a pull day or a row
push
or
push,
whatever.
like bench press,
I haven't done this in 6 months. I haven't worked this muscle in a certain way. And so if you don't plan that, people naturally just do their favorite stuff. And so if there's multiple people that like the same things, you're going to end up getting a big high volume of certain stuff and super low volume of other stuff. So that's why we sit down and we put the entire year together. We sit with every single day's training session, sitting next to the next seasons and then the next season, to make sure that we are putting everything together and periodizing everything in a way that gets the best results for all of our athletes. So, and that's, again, why we do our seasons, why we do switch those things up, because if we always just train for heavy strength, you're going to get strong.
Right.
But guess what? You're not going to be able to run.
Yes.
If you don't train endurance, if you don't train agility, you're not going to be able to do the things that athletes should be able to do. And your body, as a human, you should be training like an athlete, because you're going to be able to emphasize doing things athletically. And so that's the big thing, again, of optimizing training, right? So you can always do, if you love powerlifting, by all means, do more powerlifting.
And that's why we have 24 access.
Right.
So people that love to do powerlifting, they can come into the gym and do that if they want to supplement it with ours. Usually if you're powerlifting, you're probably not focusing on.
You should be, though.
You should be.
And so, like, what
Same with running, like the
anything,
marathon
runners,
runners.
yeah. So if someone, what I try to tell people is treat those things that you love as your sport, right? So when you were playing sport, when I was playing football in college, I played football 6 days, sometimes 7 days a week. Okay, so I was doing some type of football skill 7 days a week. I did strength and conditioning off season, but that's the most we did our strength and conditioning program. Now, fast forward to today, if I'm doing 3 of my strength and conditioning program days and my sport is no longer football, but I love powerlifting, now my sport can be powerlifting. I can be doing, 2 powerlifting days where I'm doing my bench, heavy bench, heavy heavy squat days. You know what I mean? And those are you're going to be in great shape from the team, you an athlete, and then you're going to be strong as hell and do well powerlifting because that's your sport. That's what you like to do. Same thing with marathon. Marathon runners should be training in weights. You're going to be a better track runner, marathon runner, cross country runner, and the best in the world are in the weight room. So you shouldn't just run miles on top of miles if you're looking to do a marathon. Now, do you need to run those miles? Yes, of course you do. But you also need to do your team sessions, which is your lifting, which is your balanced training. That's going to make you a better athlete. I've always thought this as a strength coach. My coach or my job as a strength and conditioning coach is to make my athletes the best athletes that they can be, so that their football coach can make them the best football coach or football player that they can be. Their volleyball coach can make them the best volleyball player. I'm not there to teach you how to dig and set and tool the other team.
Come on. I think I learned so much from you.
Yeah, there we go. That's not my job as a strength and conditioning coach. My job is to make you jump higher and stronger shoulders and a stronger swing so that you can do those skills at a higher level.
Yes.
Same thing applies to our program today.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Awesome. So
goal setting, each season, set goals for yourself. You might not like this season, but like he said, some of the things that we don't like are the things we need to get better at, because we don't like things we suck at naturally. Like, nobody likes to do things that they feel like they're bad at. So set your goals for every 8 weeks. And then you have a whole year goal that you can set for yourself, and then just cut it up into those shorter 8 weeks, and then even break it down more in the process of how you're going to achieve those
And
goals.
a lot of the process that we do here is done for you. Like, that's the cool thing about our program. And when you periodize a program, that is processing. That's the process of hitting your goals. So let's jump into our craving this week.
Yeah, the craving. I knew it. Did you kind of think that it would be one over the
I
other?
didn't see it.
You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
Ooh.
I
What do you
thought
think
that
it
it would
is?
be with our people. I thought that it would be strength. Would win. Did I get it right? Yes.
So let me see.
Which
the
is
exact
awesome because
numbers.
that's my. That's
So
what I like most.
77% strength, 23% conditioning.
That's awesome. So what was
So we
the-
had 51 votes for strength and 15 for conditioning.
Damn.
Yeah.
Strength is up there.
Strength.
So this is what's
but
really
this
funny.
is- we have some. So there were some good comments. Ashley Downs, team agility or team conditioning.
Yeah.
Conditioning, and I was like,
She's a racer, yeah.
obviously. Yep. Bobby said shouldn't have one without the other, so
I
she
love
said
that.
both.
Yep.
Those are my favorite comments. Kristen goes, I don't even need to answer this.
We all know. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Loves her cardio.
She
Yep.
does. And then who's this? Shutter. Oh, Lee Deanna. She said, learning to love all the seasons. So
That's
that's
awesome.
great too. Yep.
And that's our goal is if you go into a season that you dislike, but you become good at something in that season, say it's strength season, but you're getting stronger, you're going to start liking that season. And that's our goal, is to give you the experience, give you the training in all those aspects so that you can thrive in those other areas. So strength is the, and this is what I was going to say earlier that's really funny is I bet when we opened the first 100 athletes, if we would have pulled them before we basically made athletes do the strength training with us, if we pulled those athletes, I bet we would have, if not 90%
100%.
of those
yes.
athletes would have rather done boot camp style endurance versus lifting weights.
Right. And
Which
you
is
still
aw-
see those
it-
trends sometimes in
yeah.
the fitness industry, and I'm like, I just don't understand it. But
Yeah, it's interesting.
I don't know. People like their own thing, and
Yeah.
But I think when they don't know what else is out there, they just learn to adapt to that and like it,
Right.
and then they can try something else. And you're like, oh wow, like I really noticed the benefits of strength training.
Yeah.
And I think it just comes with people being scared of lifting weights and
And they've never had a coach that
yeah.
can dive in and show them and
right.
give them a program that does it right, so they get scared of those things, or a lot of people in a 24-hour type, if they're just in a 24-hour gym or just a big box gym, they go in and they go, okay, I know how to walk on a treadmill or run on a treadmill or ride a bike. I can do that. I feel comfortable. I'm not embarrassed if I do this. But in the general gym scene, if I go over to a free weight bench and I look at it
and I don't know how to move it,
and I go, and I don't know what exercises to do on it, and I don't have a program set up for me, that's when a lot of people aren't going to be doing those type of things. Or even if they go to a weight machine that's foreign to them, they don't know how to adjust the weight, how to make, how to adjust the seat so that it fits them, different things like that. And so that's the other cool thing that we try to do, and we try to give our coaches, is to educate our athletes and make sure that our athletes could go into any free weight gym and be comfortable lifting weights in that gym. And be
work, because
right.
you have people that just say that they, like, when they go out of town for travel,
right.
they were able to go to a gym because they weren't here and able to just go in and feel comfortable going in.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't have
and that's huge.
Or a hotel gym. They knew kind of what to do because they...
And it's crazy, like, talking to my brother, for example, he knows... we've been doing strength and conditioning. We had a strength and conditioning coach when we were 10, when he was like 8 years old to 10 years old. Like, we've known always what to do. He then football, so he'd always had someone telling him exactly what to do. So like the movement and him feeling comfortable, I don't think was an issue, but the programming of if he goes into the gym, he didn't know, okay, what should I do? What should I hit today?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What
So that was something that an expert in strength training, I would call anybody that's been doing it for 20 plus years an expert in what they were doing, right?
And getting some of the best in the NFL.
Right, yeah. Like he's been with the best, but not having that coach when he was done in the NFL, then he didn't know what to do.
And that's why we have Krave, is because you get out of that whole environment and you're like, okay, I love to be active, but I don't know where to even start.
And you've never programmed your own strength and conditioning when you go to college. Yeah. Like, we're lifting, we have our summer programs, all of that stuff, but our coach lines all that up for us. So we look at a piece of paper or we look at a screen nowadays and you
just go
do what is on it. Yeah.
That's what we did.
Well,
we have to do cleans today.
Damn it.
Now we're gonna look like football players.
Right? Yeah, how'd that work out for you guys?
It sucked.
You didn't work you didn't work as hard as you should.
It sucked at the time, but
you didn't work as hard as you should because you did, but then you would have never realized that you would have never looked like a football player. That's awesome. So that's a little bit of rundown about our program. If you've been with us for years, I'm sure that this was kind of a recap. Hopefully you learned something new. But if you're new, or if you just joined us, or if you're just joining us for the first time on Facebook, we invite you not only to come in if you're local, awesome, but if you're not and you're looking for a program, we design and we periodize programs off of our seasons for everybody. So we have online options where you can tune in and do with the team 3 days per week from a screen at your own gym. I have a guy in Florida, a gal, another gal in Florida as well, a guy in New York that are doing the team sessions 3 days a week, and they're doing their supplemental teams. They're doing their supplemental program on their off days, what we call our active rest days, and they're getting killer results. And they're doing it out of their gym, and he's, shout out Blake if you're watching. He throws a ladder down in the gym and does his footwork drill. He has some old guy come up to him and say, "Man, I've been noticing you've been working really hard and you're crushing it and you look awesome. Congratulations."
That's awesome. Yeah.
Like, those are things that you can do in a gym with the right program. You can get these results from anywhere. So we have the option for you online to do all of that. And then that kind of goes into the nutrition aspect of it too. We periodize our nutrition, but we will, if you want to get a downloadable 4-week course on our nutrition. We have that available at craveathlete.com. You can jump on there, purchase the product, and we'll email you the Zoom call starting this Sunday. We will have a meeting, a live Zoom call. It'll also be recorded. We hope you can join us live, but if not, it'll be recorded so that you can get all that information. We'll be doing 4 weeks of those every Sunday night, and we'll be basically dividing this education system up into your courses so that you'll find out exactly what macros you need to be hitting. You'll find out exactly what you need to be doing, and you'll learn why. And then you'll be able to. It's the only thing that's not going to be added into this is the accountability of weeks past the 4 weeks. So that's why if you're interested after the fact in getting with a coach and continuing the week-to-week meetings and accountability, then that's an option obviously as well. That's what we do with all of our nutrition athletes. But this is kind of a downloadable quick course that can get you the information that you need and hopefully get a bunch of good information and everything. Do you have any comments or any questions or anything?
Nothing. There's
Nothing
3
yet?
live.
Nice.
A couch potato, are we going to do that this week or no?
Do you have one?
The Bachelor's done, so I don't have anything else to talk about.
So you don't watch anything other than The Bachelor?
I don't. Maybe last week was kind of a crazy week because we were home late and
Yeah.
I didn't really watch anything.
Spring break was last weekend.
My put together that Britney Spears documentary, which was
Oh,
kind
you
of
did?
crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing.
Yeah.
That
that's a
we
whole-
like just it's a whole nother world that like
I
nobody
think we kind of
knows
talked about
and-
that
Did you
on
guys?
here
I don't
when you
remember.
weren't in here. Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, that's a crazy documentary.
And the royals, just listening to their side of the story of what it's like. Because you always think you have that royal, lavish life, but just what goes on.
And that was from whose point of view?
Oprah did an interview with, oh my word,
Oh, okay. Prince
Harry. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And is it Harry?
I think so.
'Cause what's-
And Meghan
Yeah.
Markle? Is it
Yeah,
Markle?
yeah. And so now it's funny because they moved out of all that and they live in California now, and they have like chickens, and it's just so weird seeing that dynamic go from like that
Yeah.
lavish life, and now they're like on I'm sure a cute little house in California, but
That's
they have
funny.
chickens and a chicken coop and stuff. But that's the things I've watched recently. But
I watched the movie Savage.
is that on last night? You had it on? Or
Was it?
Was
no, it was a couple nights.
John
2 nights ago.
Travolta? No?
John Travolta's in it.
Okay.
He is not an FBI, drug enforcement, DEA officer or something like that, and big California weed guys that have a giant business. This was before it was legalized, I think, and then they have the cartel moving in on them and trying to make deals with them, and then they get into a bunch of shenanigans and a shootout and all this fun stuff.
Not my forte.
No, probably not yours, but
No.
if you are into kind of the,
Is it new
The
or is it an
cops
old
and-
movie?
I have no idea, to be honest
Yeah,
with
like
you.
what year was it?
It's on Netflix.
Oh.
I have had no interest in any TV, so I just went to like the suggested Netflix movies or whatever if I have time sitting in bed. But awesome.
Not the next. Okay, then we'll do a craving. I don't know what we're gonna do this week yet. But
Yep. So stay tuned to our social. We'll have a craving out. We encourage everybody to vote and comment on that craving, and we'll have kind of a this or that again. and
It's
we'll
so
have
much
to
easier
also-
doing this or that. Shit. Oh, I mean, we could talk about March Madness. Hawkeyes lost.
Yeah. There's not much new.
We didn't fill out a
everybody,
bracket. We
Everybody
sucked.
lost. Like the brackets are busted.
Yeah, yeah.
They're
So if
officially
someone's,
zero.
Like,
There's officially zero.
don't they usually say how many brackets are out there that are still?
Yeah,
like,
there's zero.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's officially zero.
wow.
I think it was zero as of even a couple days ago.
Okay.
As far as like the big platforms.
Yeah. I haven't been
Some
keeping
guy, Jerry's in his basement with a hard copy filled out, still perfect, but he didn't submit it to the right platform.
Dang
So
it.
nobody
Would have been a
online.
millionaire, Jerry.
Yep, Jerry should have been in there.
Jerry.
But yeah, none of our teams are in it. It
no,
was fun
and we
watching
didn't
the
fill it.
highlights
I
and
like filling them out because then I like stay in tuned with
Yeah.
like
Kansas
who won
got
and stuff.
throttled by
Did they
USC.
really?
Yep.
Dang it.
Yep.
And were they ranked higher than USC?
Yes, I think it was a 3-6 or something like that. I can't remember the season.
I have to go look at this. Look at the bracket now.
Yes, but the big thing again, some action steps. Set some goals this week. Write them down, and then write down the process and some blockers, some reasons that. Again, I love going to this wake up 10 minutes early scenario, but if it's, one of your blockers might be, I'm just too busy, I don't have enough time in my day, then, you can analyze that will help analyze how you're spending your time. Simple stuff like that. Write down those blockers, write down your goals, write down the process, and
write down successes.
Yep.
Along the way.
Yep.
And
exactly.
if you do succeed,
well, and that's what the process is.
Yes.
Is those mini goals, and then just draw a line through. I love making lists.
You love your list.
Love a list.
Love a list.
I will make a list. So I will make a list. Say I'm at the grocery store, and I don't have a list. I will make a list quick, and then I have like 3 things in my cart. I'll put those 3 things on the list, and just so that I can cross them out. Makes me feel
Maybe
good.
I should do that because I wouldn't spend as much money at the grocery store probably.
Well, we went to Costco,
Oh my god.
and we rarely get to shop
We used to go
together.
grocery shopping together all the time, which is kind of nice. Like
Yeah.
before kids, we'd like both go. It'd be like our Sunday thing to do.
Yeah, we rarely go anymore, and so when we went together we had the kids as well.
First, we were hungry. We didn't eat dinner, and it was like 5. So
Terrible
never
idea.
do that. That's a terrible
So
idea.
we end up just like,
Cart
and then we
full.
go back and forth like we just keep
Like, should we get this?
Yes,
Let's
yeah,
get it.
get it, get it, throw it in, to the point where like, and
We get home and we're like, oh, we
like
don't have
shit,
room for
yeah.
any of this in our freezer.
yeah, dumb, but yeah,
I blame it on you. Then I don't feel as guilty. Like if I would have left Costco by myself, like with the kids that day, I'd have been like, damn, that's a lot of money. But then when you're with me, I'm like, he kind of egged that on, so I don't feel this.
I feel the same thing.
Although you never question it, but it's just funny how like my mind works that way.
Yeah.
That you were a part of it. Kristen said Iowa women play this afternoon. Yay for women's sports.
Awesome. Yeah. So that's a huge. That was a huge story
that was
too.
a huge story.
That we could touch on. Kristen, thanks for
bringing that up.
Bringing that up. But we had. So I don't know if everybody saw, but they had just a ridiculous little
weight room.
A-frame dumbbell setup for the NCAA women, and just the fact that the NCAA obviously doesn't think that the women should be lifting, that they didn't give them a rack, they didn't do anything. I thought that was
just the
absolutely
organization in general.
ridiculous.
Like, how do you
Like,
not expect this stuff to get out?
in today's
You know,
world? Yeah,
yes,
that's
absolutely. And inclusion
somebody needed to get fired for that, but
that is crazy.
I
and
heard
then now I
then
heard
they have-
food and like
I'm sure,
everything's like less for the women rather than just the weight room, like
Right.
the hotels and everything. It's just it's
and,
crazy.
and there's a point where I understand, to a point, there is money issues, right? So if the guys bring 80%, 90% of the money in versus the girls, that's fine. But the way that was like, just that was like almost done on purpose to be as dramatic as possible, because that was absolutely ridiculous. And the dumbbells were like
oh my god,
max like 40 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? How many strength coaches in the NCAA that obviously work with women's sports are
not pissed about that.
pissed? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, my women basketball players can lift more
Yeah.
than the 40-pound dumbbells. Where's the rack so they can do
Right.
a squat?
Right.
Like, it was ridiculous. So I understand if there's discrepancies, if there's smaller things, but not to that point. If there was 6 racks to, say that there's, same thing, 80% of the money comes. If there's 2 racks versus 8 racks for the guys, whatever.
Right.
It is what it is. The equipment can be the exact same. There can be less if if it's a money issue. But then she went on to say that it was a space issue, and then showed the
All the
crazy
room
6,000 square foot
that was
of
not
space.
being used.
Yeah, it's crazy. But
It's
it was really interesting, and it was hopefully, I mean, that's a huge oversight, but I'm hoping that these things that keep coming out with this kind of stuff, at least.
Yeah, it makes you wonder how long it's been going on with nobody saying anything.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
I don't know.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just can't imagine. I hope that like they had the racks and stuff like on a truck on its way.
Right.
You know what I mean? And,
Right.
and,
And
they're
then
like,
they just
they were
filmed
like
it
they were
too
like
soon or
yeah, they were like shit, we're a day late and we're gonna get reamed for this. Like I hope that's the case versus like here, this is what you get.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And then Kristen said, but what if women played during prime time instead of afternoon all season long? Would it bring in more money? Thanks for talking about it.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because the way that I think TV works is they take ratings and give those ratings prime time. So like the TV deals for NFL is going to be the primetime game is going to be so much. They already know that those ratings are going to be a certain way. So I don't know if that's the answer, but what should be done is they should give them prime time. Maybe not. There's so many stations and so many streaming. There's no reason that somebody has not picked up somebody hasn't a Netflix, a Hulu subsidiary, some organization should do a deal with these sports, and it's not just women. It's not just women's basketball, but it's all women's sports and different things. If somebody can do a
men's
deal,
soccer. I know we have a lot of soccer coaches over
and
at
there's just
Waukee that love
alternating
soccer, or just different
other sports,
or
all those type of
women's
things.
soccer.
If those are done in prime time, they can be done on prime time and give people the option to see. And I'm
Women's
sure that
volleyball.
there you go. I'm sure that there's a way to at least test the market. If the market's not there, the market's not there. If no one's watching, no one's watching. But do we know that yet? Question. If some, there's no reason that out of 1 billion streaming services that one doesn't say, hey, let's do a deal with NCAA on the women's side and let's try to compete. That's the tough part is you'd have to be competing with another primetime type of sport.
Do they always do March Madness men and women at the same time?
Yeah. March.
Yeah, I guess. I know. Like, I didn't know if
Just the end of season because their seasons are at the same time.
Right, true.
So the tournament's going on at the same time.
I guess maybe that's why I just don't hear a lot about the women's.
Yeah,
Because men just take
definitely.
over.
What other question? Kristen? I'm glad we're talking today, Kristen.
Forever, it's always been an issue. They had racks for the Sweet 16, but not the original 64 teams of women. Yeah, it's always been an issue. The weightlifting stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like. Yeah, I just haven't had time to read into it that much,
But it's crazy. It's crazy to me that strength and conditioning has not gotten better, and it has gotten better, but it hasn't gotten to the point where it should be for all athletes.
Well, like you said, if that was my career, was being a strength and conditioning coach for a women's basketball team, and I went in there, I would have enough pride to go to the NCAA and be like, this is a bunch of bullshit. Like,
Right. I mean, how many people are those
players,
strength coaches? Are those strength coaches going there and being like, oh well, I'll get them. I'll have my. They're going to be here for 3 weeks. I'm going to have them do band work for like you know what I mean?
know,
Like
I don't
what
get it.
The teams brought portable equipment. At what point does the strength coach go, there's no way that I can do any of the programming that I need to do with my girls
with one set of 40
with this?
pound dumbbells.
Yeah, crazy. But,
Well, thanks for tuning in,
yeah,
guys.
thanks for tuning in. We'll get off of that rant, and remember, you are an athlete. Live like it.
You're born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.